Hi everyone, Jeff Scholes here and welcome to the third of my short videos where we discuss ideas and experiences that can help you develop the skills that are needed as a financial advisor. In this video, I want to look at the concept of actions, so the things that we all do on a daily basis, often without even thinking about it, but sometimes after days or possibly weeks of deliberation. When we're providing advice to clients, effectively we're asking them to take a series of actions. Some are relatively minor, most are quite important, and a few are potentially life-changing. And if we ask clients to take those actions in a way that doesn't make sense to them or at a time when they're not ready, the result will probably be that they come up with immediate objections or maybe even look to end the meeting. The last thing that you or the client needs is having to deal with objections or disagreeing whether a particular course of action is the right thing to do. And that's why it's so important to be able to judge where the client is in their process and only suggesting that they take an action when they're ready to take that next step. And by the way, if your questioning skills are good, you won't be the one suggesting the action. It'll be the client saying, "Oh, that's great, can we do that now please?" Okay, before we start looking at all the actions that a client takes as part of the advice process, we need a clear and simple model of how humans take any actions. So, okay, bear with me. I'm going to use the concept of an itchy nose to explain what I mean and start with the premise that humans take no actions unless they can see a benefit for them of actually taking that action. So, in order for me to scratch an itch, the first thing that has to happen is I have to be aware of the situation. So I'm happily talking into a video camera and suddenly I get the situation that something's happening in the nose region. Without that awareness, I'm not going to go through the effort of raising my arm to scratch my nose. So awareness is absolutely the initial point in any action that anybody takes. But awareness isn't enough. There are plenty of things that I'm aware of in life that I do nothing about, and the same applies here. So let's develop the idea. After a minute or so, I start to realise that it's definitely an itch and it probably isn't going to go away on its own. So at that stage, I need to be thinking about what is really happening. So it really is itchy, it isn't going to go away. And by the way, I'm in the middle of recording a video, so I don't want to be scratching my nose. So what's happening at this stage, I'm starting to develop my understanding of the situation. And that is the next stage in the action steps that I'm going to take. But will understanding the situation cause me to act? Well, it really depends on the particular action that we're looking at. I mean, I'm on the example of scratching my nose, so possibly I understand it, I'd scratch my nose. What if the decision is buying a house or changing a job? That decision could take a while. It would take a while to go through the process, and actually going through the advice process can take a while as well. It's a big decision to get involved in that. So getting back to my itch dilemma then, the next stage we're at is where the itch is really starting to annoy me. So I'm aware of it, I understand it's an itch, and now it's starting to be a concern. It's bothering me, and you could say that this is the time I'm ready to act and to scratch that itch, but concern isn't enough. Think of the things in your own life that you're concerned about, but you don't actually do something about, and I bet there are quite a few for most people. It's not until that concern becomes something that you can't ignore and that you want to act on that you actually take an action. So the next stage we're looking at is actually the stage of being dissatisfied with the current situation. Right, and that's subtly different from the concern. We live with concerns, but actually dissatisfactions we're more likely to act on. So now it could be, I know I'm filming a video, but you know what? I've got to scratch that itch. Right, I've moved on. Now, I know that's a simple model, but what it does do is show us the steps that we all go through when we take a particular action. So I become aware of a situation, I understand it, it concerns me, I actually know it really bothers me, right, I'm going to do something about it. So what we now need to think about is how does this apply to the advice process? Think of something that you believe that you or somebody else would benefit from doing, but they're not actually acting on. Then pause and listen to the language that they or you are actually using. You might find out that they're not fully aware of a situation, or maybe they don't fully understand it. They haven't thought about the implications, or maybe they are aware, They do understand, but actually it isn't that much of a concern for them for any particular reason. And that might have something to do with their values, something to do with their past, something about the way they feel. That's another video for us to look at. Or it could be that actually they are aware, they do fully understand, they're so concerned that it actually bothers them, so they're ready to act. And like I say, the words that they're using will actually tell you. And in later videos, we'll look at the skills that you can use to actually elicit from the client how they really feel and where they really are. And this is key. The only way that you will know where a client is in this process is by you asking the right questions and then listening to the words that they use. Because if you ask somebody to act when they're not ready, immediately you've put you and them in a conflict situation. So almost with all the actions that we're asking people to take, we shouldn't be doing any of them until the client is saying, yes please, can we do that now? So just before I close this particular video, I want to look at some of the different actions that we're asking a client to take throughout the advice process. So effectively I'm asking a client, will you agree to see me? Are you happy to go through the advice process? Can we carry out a fact find? Will you answer my questions? Can we talk about your protection needs, your income needs, your pension needs, your savings needs? So there's loads and loads of little action decisions we're asking a client to take. So through this process, you're going to be monitoring where the client is on these stairs in lots and lots of situations, and only taking action when you know that the client is ready. And so in my next video, what I want to do is looking at how as an advisor we can influence this particular process, and what behaviours and what skills and what questioning techniques you can use to elicit where the client is in their action stairs relating to whatever particular subject that you're talking about. So it's about what we can do to influence the process. Thanks for listening. Please add your own thoughts or comments below, and let's keep the advice skills conversation going.